I am Jason, and this is Savage Mind Podcast for anyone who does not know or tuning in for the first time. How the fuck is everyone? I hope everyone's doing well, whether you tune in occasionally, whether you haven't tuned in a while, whether you don't give a fuck, whether you're a critic, whether you're a heckler, whether you're a hater, or you're in support of people like myself and whatever we're doing. Again, I'm staying behind lately. Again, not going to get on here and make excuses. It is for what I'm developing and working on. So start having valuable people on. Not everyone's going to come here. I'm not comfortable with that, but there will be a reasonable amount of guests coming on here if they're comfortable with that. So, only an episode or two away from starting season 6, and I'm just now getting. Again, I had no expectations when I started this. I've said that over and over. I'll have expectations of anyone else's support. I have expectations of myself, and it takes longer than expected. Kind of like you have a 5-year plan, turns into a 7-year plan. 2-year plan turns into a 5-year plan, but it's better than no fucking plan at all. I'm disappointed in myself for things. Again, I don't want to recap everything for those who listen on a regular basis, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for any support. Thank you very much. I used to always say at the end of a podcast, at the beginning of the podcast, go to Spotify, Apple Play, Google Play, any of those, go subscribe. You still can do that. I think that again, you're going to, in a nutshell, you're going to find my first 5 seasons. February of 2020, when I started this podcast, to July 2024, you're going to find it on Spotify, Apple Play, Google Play, and some other ones. But I think they suspended my subscriptions for a while. Again, I had a couple of issues with Spotify. They're the ones that put me on actually 5 years ago. Nothing against them. They changed the criteria, the platform rules and stuff like that. And I didn't do anything wrong. I just wasn't gonna do all that right now, considering I still didn't have it where I wanted it. And again, I'll never. It's like anything. It's like my training. Just like probably financially. Probably traveling. It'll never be where I want it. It's never enough. There's a lot of things that's never enough. Too much good health, too much beach time. You can't train too much. I'm not in that right now. I'm a little bit behind on my training. Still doing something. Did something today. Not where I want to be. It's like too much love. Too much healthy food. Not that I do that all the time either. It's like too much sex. There's no such thing. It's like too many beautiful, curvaceous, big booty women. No such thing. You heard it here, because if you know me, you know I keep it fucking real on everything. But those things don't exist. Those things don't exist in my mind. There's no such thing. It's like seeing too many palm trees or smelling sunscreen or salt water. There's no such thing as too much. I'm never going to have too much of it. Right now, I don't have enough. I'm in a deficit. But they changed the criteria, and I wasn't willing to deal with it right now. So I'm going to say this for a while until I'm back on. Up till July 2024, you can find all the previous episodes on Spotify or Apple Play, any of that. Going forward from July of 2024 to currently, going forward until further notice, it's on YouTube. I expect nothing. I'm getting less. I have less listeners and subscribers on YouTube because I think so many people got used to my platform on Spotify. Fair enough. Now, when I go back to Spotify, if I do, I will go back to other platforms when I get my equipment sitting right over there. It's just no point in getting all of that out if it's just me. And so I lost my subscribers for the second or third time. That'd probably make a lot of people happy. But as you see, it ain't going to stop me because I'm fucking relentless. I just did a podcast on this a while back. That's the truth. No matter how far I get behind, no matter what anybody has to say, no matter the criticism or the support, the only person that can stop me is me. And I'm aware of that. It probably pissed a lot of people off that I'm still doing it. It probably pissed a lot of people off that I'm still doing everything I do. Probably pissed a lot of people off because I am who I am. Probably pissed a lot of people off because I'm still fucking here in life, period. Drink of the day right now, Heineken Silver. I think I got that by accident. I just meant to get regular Heineken. Can't see that good these days. I bought 2 or 3 of the wrong beers. Not a big beer drinker lately. Draft. When I go to a restaurant, I always want a draft beer. I love draft beer. Or if I'm in the pool, at the beach, at the lake, anywhere outside, been working, burned off calories. Sometimes after I'm done training, if I've had a reasonable amount of, put in a reasonable amount of distance in my run, I'm going to come get a beer. And then I'll go to mimosas or wine. Really, these days, just mimosas. So after I'm finished with these 2, it's probably just going to be mimosas. Got one of my new Spartan shirts on that I earned, that I got. Came in about 3 weeks ago. I don't think I've done a podcast in it yet. I can dig it. It says Spartan on the back, I think, if you can see back there. Missing. Yeah. Fits good, comfortable. It's universal. That's the way I like a lot of my stuff. Multifunctional. So, again, I could say I plan to have a guest on, so start my guest podcast and kicking it off into this season coming up. 5 years, man. Hey, again, it's not even close to where I wanted it. Again, no expectations of what expectations I had for myself, but at the same time, I'm like, what happens if I would have stopped? What happens if I would have stopped training? I got a pile of notebooks over there for book notes too, and I'm behind on that. But then I think I plan on having a rough draft of what I envisioned as my first book, done by my 50th birthday, and that just happened. I don't have that done either. But what happens if I wouldn't have written those notes? What happens if I didn't make myself? I didn't do what I wanted to training today, but I got up and did something. I'm not a fucking cold weather person. I don't even care if the sun's out. I fucking hate it. That's probably where I'm not as savage, but I always fucking make it up. Any little area, any area that I'm a little bit not savage at, I'll fucking make it up. I fucking hate cold weather. I don't want to be cold at all, not even for a fucking little bit. But I'll handle fucking sweltering heat. You give me a choice to train on a 32, 35 degree day, even if the sun's peaking a little bit of wind blowing, and I got to put 2 or 3 layers on, or honestly, a triple digit 100 degree day where it's still going to kick my ass, but I'm probably going to go out there with a pair of shorts, t-shirt, shoes, and a bandana or a hat or both and take my shirt off. I pick that every day. I'll do that twice a day before I fuck with this at all. I can't stand it. I don't think it's good for my mental and physical health. I think a lot of people, this is the case with a lot of people. It's too much in the house for me. It ain't brutally cold. It's going to get bad again this week. It's injuries. If you have any aches and pains, it's more staying in the house. It's less movement. It's less momentum. I mean, I've said it in past podcasts, and I say it to people all the time. All the best shit's during warm weather, man. Swimming of any kind, swimming pool, lake, beach, water park, fucking barbecuing, training, outdoor concerts. I mean, like, I prefer outdoor concerts too. I've turned down seats that were better seats at a stadium when I was going to a concert than I would just getting lawn seats at the pavilion. Call me basic on that shit, but I'd rather be in the lawn. I feel like it's more personal. It's a lot more laid back, a lot less stress. I don't like getting out of my seat, fucking moving people. Anyway, just little things I thought I'd talk about real quick. I talk about things that are important to me, things that are going on in my life, things I know that are going on in other people's life. And as always, I'm a truther. I tell the truth. I hold people accountable because I hold myself accountable first. You can't hold anybody accountable till you hold yourself accountable. If you don't know, I'm an ultra endurance trail runner. I'm not saying I'm good. I'm not saying I've accomplished anything compared to some people. I'm just saying what I do. I'm a podcaster. I'm a father. I'm a grandfather. I'm a worker. I'm a brother, and all these things have a lot to do with my purpose. I'm a beach lover, booty lover, curvaceous big booty women booty lover. My mama Cito will watch this and laugh, man. She ain't gonna watch it, but she'll watch it and laugh. So Spartan racer, again, I haven't accomplished what I plan to accomplish. I'm always gonna be grateful. I'm always gonna be humble. I'm always gonna be fucking savage. I'm always gonna be fucking relentless. I live full, die empty. I'm never gonna fucking stop until I can't. I don't want to leave anything on the table in this life. So in the meantime, no, I'm not making what I want to with this. I'm not where I want to be, but still, what is it hurting? I mean, as I've said, if you have to go back and listen to all my previous episodes, or before I even had a podcast and I was doing videos, you'd be surprised at people, some of us impact, whether they admit it or not. Again, there's a lot of people that will not admit that publicly, but they talk to, like myself. Like, I'm speaking from experience and telling the truth. They'll reach out to me privately. We talk privately. I'd rather them do it publicly, not for recognition for myself, because I think that it would inspire other people to do the same. Not just for me, for anyone. But if it impacts them and it helps them in any way, and they don't feel like they can do that publicly for whatever reason, we know the different reasons for that. That's fine. Whatever the reason is, you know the real reason. And if whatever it is it's helping you with in your life, or whatever message you need to hear, because I've heard that a lot. Again, I'm not putting out as much podcast as I was for a while. That will change. And when I had this set up, or I'm going to other people, it doesn't mean it's still going to be a guest every time. My idea is to get back to 4 to 6 podcasts a month. The goal is 8, but right now I'm doing like 1 or 2 a month, and that's not going to cut it for me. Part of it's been all the other work I have outside of this, and that would make a lot of other people quit or just say forget it and back up. I've got, again, if you know any of my pages, go to, if you want to go to Spotify, go to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, listen. It's still going to help me. Share. I know a lot of you won't share. If you know me personally, we live in the same community, went to school together, played sports together, any of that shit. Most of y'all not gonna share anything. I already know that. Most of my shares and my support come from look, there's a lot of y'all I love, you know that. Most of my solid support and shares comes from other people. It comes from people. Most of the time, it comes from people that I don't even deal with on a regular basis. People that I didn't know until the last couple of years are in this community, or in the ultra community, or in podcast community. People in other state, people other side of the state, other states, or other countries. That's the truth. Most of my support does not come from people I know. Too many of them feel like Too many of them feel like the shoe fits to the shit I talk. Even if it's not directed towards them, they feel like it is. So I want to talk about this for a little bit. I just did a podcast a while back on turning 50 years old. Turned 50 years old almost 2 months ago. And I know I'm not going to hit everything today. I want to talk about some of the things that, for our age group, and before I get any further with this, a lot of people are going to say this. Well, not me. Well, not my kid. Well, that ain't the way my parents was. Well, it didn't work out that way for me. Again, there's an exception to the rule and everything. Well, I'm exception to the exception to the rule in a lot of things in life. Again, think about it. Don't be ignorant about it. We're talking about, again, most of you are smart enough to know when we're talking about the majority. We're talking about the consensus. Most people. It's like if we're talking about money, if we're talking about a house, cars, anything, most people are not in the less than 10%. They're not. They might live like they do, but they don't. Technically, they're not. I'm not going to crack all this today. I want to get it started, though, because I've had this on my mind so much. Like I often do a lot of things, is a lot of things that we were told. I was told. even if it wasn't instructed to us directly, specifically, just things we heard, teachers, parents, adults, elders, in the workforce, at school. There's so many things that we heard and were taught and were encouraged that just ended up kind of being staples in our mind. It got embedded like a lot of things do, like a lot of traditions are like, well, you know what they say, or they say this, or this, that's the way it is, or this is what you should do. Traditions, mindsets. I've arrived at an age where I think most of the stuff I heard was bullshit. It doesn't mean the people telling it to us specifically were misguiding us. I don't believe that. I think that most of it was passed down shit that they were told. And maybe for some of them it worked. And I think for just like anything, when it gets into generational gaps, it probably applied at that time. You know, this goes back to a lot of the framework you had at home as well. Not cutting anyone down, not belittling anyone, but I think speaking from my generation, our generation, if you're a Generation Xer, there's going to be them few people out there that, like any fucking thing, they're going to nitpick it apart, and I don't care. I'm always ready for it. I'm speaking as a majority standpoint. We heard so much shit about work, about school, about drugs, about taking care of your kids, about being a good person, about helping other people, about a lot of these things we still should do. A lot of these things I will always do. Working hard, especially fucking that one, working hard, fucking being dependable, being fucking reliable, being loyal in every category, waiting your fucking turn, being fucking patient. Right now, while I'm saying this, if you're in this generation, give or take 10 years, shit's already playing in your head. And I'm going to say this because I'm not going to go over it all in this podcast. I want to set y'all up for the next one. Set myself up for the next one as well. I know for sure I see it on social media all the time. There's so many people that agree with shit, but they say, this goes for everything. They say the shit they think they're supposed to say. So I talk to there's a lot of people, young people I talk to. I'm talking about like my kid, younger than my kids, like in their 20s. I talk to on a regular basis. And you know what they usually tell me? Nobody my age talks like me do, like I do. I think a lot of people in my age group get pissed off because of the things I say. It's almost like, it's like that, okay. It's like being at work and if it's your supervisor, your boss, or the owner, or whoever it is, they can know that everybody feels the same way. They just don't want to fucking hear it. There's so many people I know that just won't fucking say it. If you do this, this, and this pays off. This is worth it. This is rewarding. Not getting into all the details today because I got more material to do on this because this is something I think about on a regular basis. Arriving at 50, whatever category it is, all these categories I can think of. I only can use myself an example. Just this is just one thing. Take the work life. Being dependable, being loyal, doing what you say you're going to do, having a good work ethic. All good traits. Should. But it doesn't mean jack fucking shit's going to work out for you. Stay off of drugs. Stay out of prison. Do the right thing. Be a good fucking friend. Be a good fucking father. Be a good fucking spouse. Be a good fucking son. Be a good fucking dependable, reliable person that keeps your word. All great things. But it's misleading to say that if you do all of those things, I'm going to put this in perspective before I get into the next podcast. Hard work pays off every time is a fucking lie. It doesn't mean shit. Some of those characteristics are good characteristics to have. I mean, you can't teach grit, toughness, and relentlessness. You either have it or you don't. Some of that other stuff, work ethic, reliability, being dependable, doing what you say you're going to do, having a good work ethic, some of that shit is taught. Having grit, being tough, being resilient, some of that shit really can't be taught. You either have it or you fucking don't. But there's a mindset out there, especially with our generation, that we pass that down to say, if you work hard, this, and this will work out. You'll be successful. And I went over this in past podcasts where to say that everyone's in a successful position, I'm going to assume that most motherfuckers think it's financially. I mean, because being broke sucks too. Struggling financially sucks too. But why? There's so many different formulas of why something is or why something isn't. Is to say that if somebody just works hard and they do what they're supposed to do, that equals success. Let's just say it's financial success. I don't go by that, but that's what most of society goes by, whether they say it or not. That work hard. I believe in sacrifice. I believe in discipline. I live my life like that. That hard work alone, being a good worker, being obedient, being dependable, showing up, doing more work, being loyal, not being dishonest, not being a fucking snake, whatever, go down the fucking list, that it will work out for you, and that equals success. And I'm going to dive into it deeper in the next podcast. That's bullshit. And a lot of y'all from our generation, you know it's bullshit. But I'm going to get in detail about it, of why some people would say that and they know it's bullshit. When you come from a position of privilege and being in an advantaged situation or upbringing, it's easy for you to say that. It's not an excuse for failure either. Again, I want to really dive in. Again, I could do it in this podcast, but I got some stuff I need to talk about with the whatever you think about it, with the kickoff of season 6 coming up. And that's this week coming up. So I wanted to combine that. I got my own idea how that's going to go. It doesn't mean be a piece of shit. It doesn't mean be a shitty worker. It doesn't mean not to be dependable, not keep your word, not hold yourself accountable, not do what you say you're going to do to the best of your ability. But I think a lot of people in my generation get mad at me because they think I'm fucking spilling the secret. It's like a lot of people get mad at me about other things when I talk to the younger people, their children, or anybody that chooses to talk to me. And I ask people sometimes, they can find this information out anywhere. If they have any level of self-education and want to gain more intelligence, I'm just the one saying it. Now, sometimes when we say that stuff, people look at us different. If they say if they just met me right now, the way I talk, they may not know my history of how hard I fucking grinded and the shit I put up with and the shit I allowed myself. And I have been that dependable, reliable, fucking stomp down work ethic, fucking sacrificing, doing without. Every category you name. Yes, I'll say it because those are things people can't take away from me. But it hasn't paid off. Most of those categories, for what I've gave up so far and what I've put in, it hadn't been worth it. It hasn't. But it's who I am now, and I can't turn that off. So I'm curious to why our generation isn't telling them isn't telling them the truth. Is it because maybe it did work out for you? Fair enough. Fair enough. But some of you aren't being honest because you didn't start out and you started out skipping steps. You started out with advantages. You got to plug right in. Some of the most difficult steps that took the longest. All you had to do was show up. We're not talking about you had to just be wealthy financially. So it's easy for you to give that perspective. You're giving it just from first person. That's what we do. That's what I'm doing now, in a way, but I'm speaking as a consensus. Because when I really get to talking to a lot of people one-on-one, I have people answer it for me. They go, hadn't been worth it. Now, there's people, now again, we're not talking people out there that fucked off, made some mistakes, fair enough, got their life back on track, but maybe they fucked up for 5 or 10, 15 years, whatever it was. Maybe they never took stuff seriously. Maybe they took a lot of risks that were really going to fuck them for a long time. Whatever the case may be, we can go back and forth. This is why it's so hard to dissect. What I see with most people our age and older, they just don't want to tell their kids and grandkids that because they don't want to get that in their head. I've heard of people say it that I know. I'm not going to tell them that because they don't know. Before I go, and before we dive into the next podcast, I'll say this. There's certain things like with my grandkids, because they're children. I just told the mamacita a while back. I said, there's certain things that they hear from our generation and older that I'm looking at it and I know it's bullshit. Now, do the right thing even when it's not easy. Yes. Do what's right, not what's easy. Do the right thing when no one's looking. All that shit I live by, no doubt. But we say a lot of shit on social media, just like with these, especially when a guy looks tough. When men look tough, it's cool to say all the cool shit that goes along with it. You know how many people I know will walk off with whatever platform they're on, post, work, daily life, whatever it is, and they fucking know it's bullshit. They know it hasn't paid off. Still don't mean be a piece of shit fucking person. But we're misleading out there. We're telling them a lot of shit that doesn't apply to their age group, to where we're at this point in history. And I'm saying, looking back on 50 years of life, let's just look at it work. I started lying about my age when I was a teenager. I've turned in, at the end of 2024, I've turned in 35 years of work. Now, there's going to be these people that do this too. What are the formula? What are the habits? Do you have financial literacy? I've been over this before. Do you have enough self-education? Do you know enough about your finance? You know enough about your money? Maybe you don't make enough money. Maybe you have the wrong job. Do you need entrepreneurship, college degree, no college degree, whatever it is? We can go down the list. I got it all covered. And I'm not gonna hit every fucking category and every bullet point in every podcast. I'm saying if you talk to me enough, you already know that I'll do my homework on everything. I'm not worried about you trying to pick it apart. I'm speaking in general. There's so many things that I think we're told that, and when we start realizing it's not true, we're so far into whatever it is that if we start telling ourselves it's anything other than that, we'll talk ourselves out of even fucking getting up and even bothering with it every morning. And that goes for a lot of things. That's the truth. I'll be relentless for the rest of my life. But there's a lot of things I have lived and still do to this day. I get mad at myself. That's bullshit. It's not true. It doesn't, again, before I go, it doesn't mean it can't be true. But we put general statements out there, a lot of these old wives' tales and these sayings that we're fucking supposed to say, and we don't even know if we fucking believe them. And most of us don't. Till part 2 of this and the season 6 kickoff, y'all stay humble and live savage. Love y'all.